Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to another of our webinar Wednesdays hosted by the California State University Bakersfield Small Business Development Center. Good afternoon, I'm Kelly Bearden. I'm the director of the center and your host for today. We've got a great program, as we oftentimes do here. For managing your small business beyond the pandemic, this is number 121 since we started back doing a weekly webinar on March the 18th, 2020, webinar number 235 since we started webinars in 2013. So what is up today, July 6th, 2022? Well, we're going to have our Associate Dean of the School of Business and Public Administration, Dr. Seung Bach, come in and actually in studio today. He's in studio with details on the new Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation's Accelerator program. This exciting new program, the CEI and the Entrepreneurship and Innovation program, which he is the executive director. He'll be in and tell you all about what's happening with kind of the first cohort that's growing out of this particular program. And that is right. You know, I don't like the word cohort, and I used it there. I do. So also, we will look at our three kind of columns that we have that we support now small businesses with, and we'll look at our capital quarter, of which we're going to look at the state small business credit initiative. That is the California portion that is actually hitting the state either right now or pretty soon, with almost $2 billion of programs for both debt and equity. Lots coming up on that in the next coming weeks. And we're also going to talk about our topic for accessing capital is going to be a little bit of discussion on the term and actual program of bootstrapping your business. On Economic Corner, we're going to focus a little bit on the inflation and also recession threat, something that we have been talking about since last year. And our relatively new marketing moment. It gets a new name, Marketing Moment. And we're going to be following up last week's No Squeegee, No Gas TV commercial with a couple of related products and kind of show you the impact that Webinar Wednesday could have. We will have an update on our remaining programs that are out there. And as always, we'll take your questions at the end. So be prepared with any questions you have for Dr. Bach. And also a poll. And let's go to our poll for today. Just two simple questions today. Trying to keep it light, got a good topic. So our first question is going to be very simply for Dr. Bach. Do you know someone interested in starting a new venture? And your choices are yes, no, or maybe. So just kind of a who's out in the audience today, who's wanting to start a new business, any type of business venture, be it low tech, be it mid tech, be it high tech, etc. So we're up to 61% of you that are participating, getting a great response right now. The yeses are going to have it. So we're up to 70%. Simple question. Do you know someone interested in starting a new business venture? Yes, no, or maybe. Okay, so we got 77% of you. That's a very healthy response. Appreciate your participation. Going to end that poll and share the results with you. And yes, 72% of you know someone who is interested, or perhaps yourself. You either know someone or you yourself are interested in starting a new business venture. 16% of you do not know anybody, and 12% maybe. So 72% of you, yes, we almost hit that magic 80% there. So the 80% did not happen that way. So one other question as we head forward, and a little bit tougher question for you. Not much, but just during the pandemic, how much did US households save? So did they save zero? This is collectively everybody, US household. Did they save 2.7 trillion, or was it $14 trillion? Okay, so we had a pandemic going on, couldn't do a lot of things. Most of us kept working, or a lot of us kept working. So simple question is, how much collectively did US households save during the pandemic? Was it zero, 2.7 trillion, or a whopping 14 trillion. And with 71% of you in, thank you again for your participation. We're going to end the poll and share the results, and you have nailed another one. Look at that. 60% of you are correct with $2.7 trillion. Yes, that's correct. Americans actually saved $2.7 trillion in 2 years, or at least US households did. And so that 60% of you got that correct. 28% of you said zero, and not a bad guess, actually, given the history, what's going on and the economic times we went through. And 12% of you, a little more optimistic, was hoping that we saved the $14 trillion. So that's our poll questions for today. Thank you for participating with those. And we'll start with Economic Corner today. So it's kind of our relevant side of the recent economic news that's happening globally. It could be locally, it could be statewide, it could be nationally, it could be globally. But just a real quick idea of following up on our poll question is, where did that $2.7 trillion come from? Well, if you can find another, or you have another suggestion other than me, go to the chat and throw it in the chat. And we'll go back to that at some point in today's program. But where did the $2.7 trillion of savings of US households come from? Well, as mentioned, after a brief substantial drop, wages, salaries, and self-employment income for many businesses remained solid. So after having some of the PPP program, PPP2, which brought back employees into businesses and salaries, a lot of the wages, salaries, and for many of you, self-employment income was there. So that's where some of the 2.7 came from. Obviously, there was some stimulus related to COVID-19, both on a business side of things, on a personal side of things. A lot of different areas to where, CARES Act funding, ARPA, et cetera, kicked in and provided a lot of support for US households. So it could have came from there as well, and likely did. Many of us experienced reduced work-related expenses working at home. So we didn't have the regular commute to work. We saw fuel prices drop to substantially the lowest levels of probably the last decade. And we also saw a number of our other work-related expenses go down and some of that savings. And also, we didn't have much travel, or a lot of our personal expenses weren't actually being expended during this time. So obviously, with hospitality and travel relaxed, we had experienced some household savings there. So that's where I think the 2.7 came from. If you know, or you have an idea about something else, feel free to jump into the chat, and the chat will actually help us identify any other reasons where that 2.7 trillion came from. Okay, this week we are going to add an inflation tip, and it comes from basically one of the biggest drivers of inflation has been energy along with food costs. So energy related, with our gas prices and oil up, I believe, to around $120, it's now sliding back down. Our inflationary tip this week is buying gas. So, for best results and for cheapest results. And my tip to you is one that I know a lot of our smaller, our rural, our lower volume dealers would have preferred it to be when gas prices were going up. Because when they're going up and you have actually gas that you purchased from 2 weeks ago, it's substantially cheaper than it is by going to a high volume place. So you figure a truck stop, a travel center, your Costco, your higher volume small businesses. Those are the best places to buy from when gas is falling, when prices are falling. And I can tell you that from returning after the 4th of July holiday, blazing down to 99, and seeing gas as low as $5.69 at some of the travel centers and truck stops. They're buying the gas that they're purchasing it today at a lower price than someone who might have purchased it 2 to 4 weeks ago, like some of our lower volume and rural areas, or maybe areas where they have larger storage capability under their tanks. So it's important to remember that it's a commodity. And I know a lot of us know this, but don't think about it at times when you're out shopping. But it's just a good little reminder. Best time to buy gas is from higher volume producers when it's coming down, and when it's going up, buy it from your smaller people. So that's our economic corner inflation tip for the day. We're just keeping these numbers for Dr. Evans when he returns and talks to us about a soft landing, whereas hopefully if inflation gets under control, lower gas prices, that's going to definitely help. And maybe keep us from, but last week we updated with the March 2022, and that is the Fed Open Market Committee, their forecast. The thing that's important is that the unemployment rate does not appear to be changing much, whereas we see interest rates are. We see a dramatic change from the forecast for the last 9 months. And we see things like interest rates with the federal funds increasing over 2.5 percentage points. And we see the gross domestic product also go down dramatically. So our growth is going down, interest rates are going up, but unemployment is remaining the same. And that is kind of unique and a unique occurrence if we do end up in a recession, whereas usually there are large employment cuts that happen along the way. So interesting until we can get an economist back in here, kind of keep us going on our economics corner. On our capital access portion, our capital corner, we will be soon announcing that we will be having our capital summits again. One time we had these elaborate half-day events with a dozen or more small business lending types in person. We'd have them in downtown Bakersfield, in East Kern, and in the Eastern Sierra region. We will be announcing soon those are coming back post-pandemic. One of the programs that we'll be talking about in the next few months is going to be obviously the state small business credit initiative. There is now about $900 million coming to California. It was reduced, but there's going to be several types of debt and oftentimes some investment or equity opportunities in this particular program. So we're really looking forward to this coming back. And really, I think if it happened, I think the state might have found out about the end of June on this. So anxious to hear more on that, and we will. So our portion of Capital Corner today is we're just going to talk quickly about bootstrapping. Now, bootstrapping a business is an old term. And historically, bootstrapping is when you could not acquire the capital to start a business. So what you would do is you would basically strap up your boots and get out there and cut your cost and cut your living expenses and to cut every other function of where you spent money and plowed it into that business. So very common historically for individuals who wanted to start a business but really couldn't get the capital. Maybe they extended out their friends and family. They weren't able to access any debt programs. There wasn't equity options available to them. So they would strap it up. Now, one of the things that has changed over the years is bootstrapping is taking on a whole new animal for a lot of technology and other innovative startups. And what you're seeing is owners try to actually receive less investment capital to retain a higher percentage of ownership. So what we're doing is we are really skimping by, maybe personally, in order to get by with as less cash, knowing that the later that we have maybe a public round of financing, an initial public offering, or some other type of event that takes out that particular business, that particular tech startup owner, that there'll be a larger percentage of ownership that they own. So bootstrapping is something that we see on both sides of the aisle now. We see it kind of parallel with what's going on with your smallest and your maybe even neediest businesses as they start up on an extremely tight budget. But we're seeing it also on companies that have money available and actually now, of course, want to do something differently there. Hold on to that ownership. Our marketing moment. Our marketing moment last week, we talked about no gas, no squeegee. You might recall this guy with a hybrid automobile parked at the gas pump. Didn't suit well with a lot of people, a lot of small business owners, a lot of people online who was there to use the free squeegee but not get gas, but deny other people from getting gas. And then we have also another one. And actually, we're going to actually show the other one right now. So our setup for this is, here it goes.
It's a gas card. You can always use gas.
Always.
You have a.
Thank you.
Hey, do we need gas?
Nope.
How about now?
Oh no. Hey, remember Daddy's birthday's tomorrow.
A gas card. I can use this.
Hey.
Evolve your journey beyond the pump in the first ever Tucson plug-in hybrid EV.
Okay, so the setup for that is, of course, that's a less expensive commercial. You're just regifting a gas card. And here on Webinar Wednesday, we were proud very early on to actually give out those gas cards courtesy of the Kern Economic Development Foundation and Chevron. Chevron generously donated approximately, if I remember right, 50 to 100 gas cards, $100 value, and we'd get those out at the very beginning of the pandemic. So maybe around our webinar number 8, 10, 15, somewhere in there. So we like gas cards here and are grateful for them, and it's not offensive. Nobody's hurting anybody else's business, but it is the same car. It's the same Hyundai hybrid, and nice car, very nice car. I'm not trying to bash Hyundai here or people that use electric or hybrid automobiles. But with this next video, what we see following up on that is a shorter version of this commercial of where they don't re-gift the gift card. And Maureen, if you can roll the tape on that, we'll roll into the most recent shorter version.
It's a gas card. You can always use gas.
Always.
You have a.
Thank you.
Evolve your journey in the first ever Tucson plug-in hybrid EV.
Yes, they did not re-gift.
Always use gas.
Always.
You have a.
So they did not re-gift the gas card. What they did was they used it to go into the convenience part of the store, purchase actually some snacks, and look, they didn't park at the gas pump. So I attribute, Webinar Wednesday to actually providing that moment for coming up and changing that. But actually, a job well done, Hyundai, in correcting your earlier marketing profile, whereas we all see too often where there's a marketing moment gone south, and you appear to be trying to correct that one from no gas, no squeegee. Okay, we're not going to get into soft. If you want to look at any of our other webinars, most of them are on demand on our CSUBSBDC YouTube channel. You can go there to any of those and see these topics and a lot more. We have probably about 175 of our webinars on there. But here are some topics where if you want more detail and more information on some of the key things that have been going on. The Kern County Micro Grant Program is open. You can call our office for more information. Our role in that is to assist you package and to look into the eligibility requirements and send to the county based on state of California guidelines to get approval. The California Dream Fund, a program that you can go back and look at on the webinar, and it is fine if you just go back and look at it, but it is up and going, and there's still time to participate in that program. That program will actually, for many of the recipients that go through the training class, the SBDC one-on-one consulting and a business plan, actually provide $5,000 to $10,000 in seed capital through Lendistry.com. So that's going on. Our California Performing Arts Grant for nonprofits, $49 million out from the state of California a week ago, is open on a first come, first served basis. You can go to our chat and pick up the link for that to find out more information on that. Most of these others we've talked about, although the employee retention credit, I believe remains open retroactively if you want to do an amended tax filing. It did end on September 30th, 2021. And if you did not sign up for Cal Savers by the deadline of June 30, please do so quickly to avoid any potential penalties from the state of California. Okay, our guest today is Dr. Seung Bach, and Dr. Bach is the Associate Dean of the School of Business and Public Administration. He's also the Executive Director of the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. He's the Professor of Entrepreneurship at CSUB, received his PhD from the University of Tennessee, and also has received an advanced degree from George Washington University and a master's in science from Hanyang University. I'm sure I pronounced that correctly. Prior to joining CSUB, comes to us from California State University, Sacramento, where he held various positions as Professor of Entrepreneurship and also founding faculty member of their Center for Entrepreneurship, interim dean, etc. Dr. Bach is joining us today. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Bach. Exciting things happening at the university. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. All right, let me slide into here to show my pretty face. Okay. All right. Thank you, Kelly. This is great. I mean, as Kelly introduced, I'm Seung Bach, Associate Dean of the School of Business and Public Administration at California State University, Bakersfield. Here today, I'm here to introduce brand new center, the incepted CSUB, and also I would like to invite all of you from San Joaquin Valley to participate in the center as accelerator. So let's go. Thank you, Maureen. Let me begin with what is a Center for Entrepreneurship Innovation, so-called CEI. In a nutshell, I'll call it as New Venture Accelerator. Then what is a New Venture Accelerator? There are many definitions out there, and the different people, different group people define accelerator in different way. But in CSUB version, and our version of definition of accelerator going to be a cohort-based entrepreneurship bootcamp program. So it is educational curriculum and also educational platforms to educate our local entrepreneur. In the center as accelerator, we try to achieve 3 or 4 main goals through this program. Number one, of course, we try to raise entrepreneurial competency among our entrepreneurs through our very immersive and also relevant curriculum. Number two, on top of that, we'd like to provide them very critical and necessary entrepreneurial tool set, which may include some mindset like design thinking, some business model canvas can be used, and also digital marketing, emerging tech to use, and also kind of legal counsel or advice. And also toward the end, we try to give our tenant options, available options of their funding strategy. We're not going to able to fund your ventures, but we'll love to open the dialogue about the possibility of your funding strategy. Also, last not the least, we try to provide your continuous mentorship and coaching through those 10-week program. That is our version of accelerator. Okay, that's it. Next slide, Maureen. So we have grand version of this CEI, but in order to avoid unnecessary confusion among you, I like to talk about what CEI is not about. First of all, CEI is not a new venture incubator. Many folks kind of little mix up two terminology, incubator over accelerator, but we're not incubator, we are an accelerator. As I said in previous slide, we are education program, educational platform. Incubator, in order to be called as incubator, the incubator usually provide a working space, share the staff, and also other the business amenity like the Xerox, the copy machine, the printer or 3D printer, share the phone number, anything like that. But we are not going to provide those business amenities. So don't call us as incubator. Also, we're not an investor. When we called accelerator, first the name of accelerator pop out of our head is Y Combinator. Because Y Combinator always provides some seed capital with exchange of a small portion of your venture's equity stake. Many people blindly assume that when you get it into the accelerator program, you're gonna get some seed capital from the hosting body. We don't. We are not going to fund you as a seed capital, not like a Y Combinator, but we're gonna provide you really solid educational program for your venture. And also at this moment, at this time, as CEI, we're not able to provide you co-working space. We do not have a physical space to share with you. At the same time, upon the exit, we may not continuously provide your business support, unfortunately at this time. But as I said, it is at this moment, at this stage, meaning that we are working toward on that. So in the near future, we may bring those back to the CEI. Okay, that's what is about, what is not about. Thank you. And Maureen, next slide. So with that, let's talk about why CEI at the CSUB at this time. And I'd like to give you kind of two-tier the backdrop behind that. Number one is national and also global level. The other one is local level. As we all know, the small and the young enterprise has a humongous economic impact in US and also global setting as well, in terms of the new job created by small and young enterprise every year. At the same time, their contribution in GDP. For instance, in roughly speaking, is a known fact that the 60 to 65% of new jobs created by US, the market, typically contributed by the small and young enterprise. And also 44 in 2020 data of the GDP was created by a young and small enterprise as well. So we need to take care of them. That's number one thing. That's where the SBDC is coming from, and also SBA is behind that. Coming down to the local, we a few years ago, as you know, B3K prosperity effort was initiated. With that, the B3K actually conducted a market assessment with a Brookings institution at Washington, D.C. Brookings institution came up with a market assessment report. I'm not gonna talking about whole detail of this market report, very comprehensive detail. But out of that, they suggested more than two to-do lists as a part of or engine behind that economic development of the region. One of that is innovation capacity. I'm gonna just pin down on that the discussion and the recommendation. In general, a few weeks ago, Dean Stark came up to this webinar, and I think he went over that, the current status quo of this the entrepreneurship and small business community in town. Kern County, or the southern part of the San Joaquin Valley, we do well in terms of creating new ventures and put them onto the market. However, we didn't or haven't done really good job in keep them and have them more successful in terms of quality of job, in terms of sustainability. So there was a giant call from the local market through the P3K, need of this, the entrepreneurship and slash business support, so-called ecosystem. And that conversation going on and actually came up with a further conversation with a few local entrepreneurship and business leaders and the CSUB, and it came up with idea of having the center on CSUB with a generous gift from the JP Lake from the Seed Corps Foundation, and also Jacob Panero from the Skip Bonner Foundation. CSB could inset the new center on campus. That's the little bit of backdrop behind the CEI. And next, Maureen. So let's delve into the more detail about this accelerator program. As I said, this accelerator program is cohort-based entrepreneurship bootcamp. In each cohort, we try to have a 20 to 25 tenant. I call it a tenant, but you can call it as a cohort member of each cohort. The CSUB CEI plans to have 3 consecutive cohorts during the academic year. For instance, first cohort gonna be launched in September, maybe concluded in mid-November. And then we're gonna have a few months later, gonna launch second cohort from the early February and concluded in the mid-April. And then a few months later, we're gonna launch a third one from May to July. We're gonna keep this cycle every year, every academic year. So you may expect that CEI gonna have a 3 cohort during the academic year every year. Another one is, as I said, this is a boot camp. Boot camp, entrepreneur boot camp come up with a curriculum. We came up with 10 sessions of curriculum program. We meet 10 Saturdays. Each Saturday, we're gonna spend 4 hours together with instructor and mentors and also the peer entrepreneur on campus. Each session gonna cover one theme or 2 themes in entrepreneurship, and each theme is gonna be taught by a team of instructors. This is a little different to other instructional program. We come up with a team of instruction. We invite at least 2, if not 3, industry experts from the national, also local, and coordinate by the 1 CSU faculty member. So academic meet with industry expertise. Those teams gonna deliver every theme on every Saturday. And also at this time, we envision to have all sessions happen in person on campus. And if I give you a snapshot of curriculum, that curriculum cover from the team building and also lean startup model, if you know, and also custom validation, business model, how you're gonna emerge in technology like AI in your business, resource planning, marketing plan or strategy, financing option, legal essential, and also on the 10th week, we're gonna come up with a culminary event, which is pitch competition in front of a panel of judges, usually coming from the investment field. So you're gonna come up with your venture idea and pitch to the judges to get the input. Ideally, after that, have further conversation about their own investment on your venture. That's the idea of this accelerator program, okay? Next, the Maureen. So if you're interested what to do, based upon the first, the poll, Kelly, 7 or 8 out of 10 of you yourself going to have interest in creating your own business, or you know somebody, right? So I figured that we have many folks in Southern San Joaquin Valley have interest in creating their own business. If you're interested in CEI in this accelerator program, please fill out the intake questionnaire. We called our application as intake questionnaire at the CEI website. I'm gonna show you a little bit more detail and also give a URL a little later slide as well. How much cost from your end? Nothing. It's all free of charge, and you are invited with your own passion. We want to enjoy and thrive in this cohort program. This is my timeline for next few months to launch our inaugural first cohort in September. Right now, as I said, CEI accepting intake questionnaire from you, and by second week of August, we're gonna come up with a semi-finalist based upon your questionnaire answer. Likely 40 plus, if not 50, the candidate will be invited to in-person interview with our CEI advisory board member. Then through that interview, we invite only 20 to 25 members to the program by roughly fourth week of August. And then first quarter will be begin September 10th, which is a Saturday in 2022. That's at this time is a timeline. So if you're interested, please jump on and fill out those intake questionnaire. Okay. Thank you. Maureen, next one. So this one is screenshot of our CEI webpage on CSUB. I give the green highlight URL on the bottom, www.csub.edu/CEI. That will be our main page. On the right-hand side, it lists the key program. Under it, if you click on Venture Accelerator, you can see next slide. Maureen, next slide. This is a screenshot of our Venture Accelerator subsite of CEI. And on the bottom, you'll see yellow, the hyperlink called Your Intake Questionnaire. If you click that, it will come up with a Google Doc. It has a bunch of questions. Front end, we're gonna ask you some the contact information, your name, and your the phone number, email, like that, and then followed by 2 dozens of questions. We have many questions. You don't have to be a provide lengthy answer, but I want you to take your time and fill up those 2 dozens of questions as much as you can, so that we can understand you better. We can use those information in selecting the cohort member in every time. Okay, and also I gave you the URL of this the Venture Accelerator subsite of CEI in the green highlight area. Okay, next, Maureen. Here is our CEI leadership and also advisory board members. Me as Seung Bach as executive director, we have Dr. Jeremy Wood, tech lead on the faculty directorship of CEI, and also we have a few other the faculty members involved as a clinical fellow or observer of the CEI. And well, luckily, I and our team, CEI team, was able to bring in high profile, really the expert group from the local to this CEI advisory board membership. As you see, JP and Jacob is there. Kelly Bearden, SBDC, participated as a board member as well. And T. Johnson, she is the high-profile woman entrepreneurship person in town. And Jim representing a legal group. Sharon is representing a marketing and branding group. Austin, Louis, Rich coming from the tech side as well. Okay, so this is our advisory board membership and the CEI leadership team. Okay, thanks to them. Next, Maureen. So let me cover from the bottom and then going up the front half. As I said, it's a free of charge, even though CEI is CSUB affiliated, funded the center, but it opens to everybody, CSB student, CSB alum, faculty and staff, and also like you all community members, it open to everybody in Southern Valley. And also, if even though I would say it is not limited to this target industry, we give a little priority on this industry when you're reviewing your intake questionnaire. Because B3K, as I said, the market assessment report came up with these 5 industry as suggested, recommended prior the industry in town to really rejuvenate our economic development. Once again, you don't have to coming out from this industry, but we'll give high priority on these 5 industry: energy industry, aerospace industry, remote business, and also advanced manufacturing and ag business in the area. Okay. Next, Maureen. So the CEI, I almost equalized to the new Venture Accelerator, but actually it is not. CEI's signature program is new Venture Accelerator for sure, but it is not just for that. CEI also provides several other programs like this. First of all, we will have about 3 to 4 speaker series throughout the year. Of course, it's open to everybody. And also we are planning to have Entrepreneurship Passport program, VC Angel in Residence program, and internship program as well. I highlight those 3 in kind of orange color because those programs are specific for CSUB students, so may not be totally applicable for your interest. However, if you participated, you may have some sense of the program as well. And other one is Bakersfield Founders Club, Innovation Expo. Is not in first phase, but the second phase, we will have those 2 programs under CEI. And also we are actually right now working on these 2 other CEI program called Emerging Technology Lab and also VR Studio on campus. These we hope within a few years we can bring in these 2 last 2 program under CEI as well. Okay. Okay. Next, Maureen. And I created some more information about the CEI. As I said, the CEI website there, and also application available through that Venture Accelerator subsite of CEI. All right. Next, Maureen. I just leave it at there because the CEI's mission and value is maybe relevant for you. And bottom line is here, CEI, along with other institutions, entrepreneur institution in town, try to create nice and healthy and strong entrepreneur ecosystem in town to provide you necessary resources. And as a part of that effort, we try to lift up our education and also the state and local resource to back you up in terms of creating and running your new ventures in town. I think that's pretty much about the thing that I prepared, and I'm ready to take you some question if you have it.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bach. Outstanding. And those value propositions that you did go over really quite well, well written as well. Let's do a quick screen share. Let's just see if we can get to pull the website up here. And of course,
always hard, right?
Well, they don't make anything easy, but it's there. So here's the website that you have for that.
I hope you can see it.
And, oh, they can see it.
Okay.
And so there's your contact information.
Sure.
So just point out anything along that you see worth mentioning here on the website. And again, Dr. Bach's able to take your questions. So line up the question box.
Kelly, can you click that quickly, that yellow link, a little up? Oh, no, actually let's go to the.
It came down awful fast, so maybe it's up here.
Go to Venture Accelerator. Let's click that on. Yep. And go down. I'm gonna show you a little further down, yellow link questionnaire.
The
Quick
question,
look at those, the
the
intake
questionnaire,
Yeah, how
also
that
known as
looks
the
like.
application.
Yeah, it is application. It is, as I said, it is relatively long application. You can get it done in the 2 to 5 minutes, I would say. But once you take a little time, maybe an hour or so, and then try to answer those questions we listed, I think it is not only about the application, get the application done. It may give you kind of moment to reflect yourself about your dream and also about your passion. So that would take you another chance to look it in more carefully about your vision. And that's the kind of another purpose behind this intake question.
Yeah, I see a lot of contact
Mhm.
information. This intrigues me, asking about social media.
Mhm.
And social media, when we do a client intake form at the SBDC, it's usually when we ask about social media, it's tied into crowdfunding.
Mm.
Because you need a crowd in order to do crowdfunding. So
Sure.
it's interesting that you have that also on the questionnaire. Faculty, students, anything else here that jumps out as you as we scroll down? This is kind of interesting. How much time are you willing to invest in your venture?
Yeah. And sometimes you are devoted full time for your venture. Sometimes not. You have a day job, and you may want to have your pet project over the weekend or sometime during the night. And so we want to know what is your time allocation or work-life balance types of question.
Now we're getting down to my questions. Describe your venture or idea in 2 sentences or less.
Yeah, right. We're always talking about pitch, right?
Yeah, an elevator speech.
A 90-second elevator pitch. I always ask myself and also to my student, never know that somebody pop you in, ask you about what you want to do. You got to have your own set of answer in 10 seconds. So that's a two sentence or 3 sentence. And if you can summarize what you want to do in a few sentences, I think that is great practice.
Absolutely. Upload a pitch deck if you have one. You probably won't see many of those, but
No,
you might.
that's fine. That's
But
fine.
hopefully they'll leave with the pitch deck.
They will. You will gonna come up with your pitch deck, and you're gonna use that in a final culminating event in front of a judge group. So it is must. And when I was in the program, we always talking about business plan, business plan, business plan. Still, it is applicable, important, but nowadays we more use the pitch deck and the business plan or along with the business plan. So it is very important tool, and you gotta be able to create your own pitch deck and also ready to pitch one to anybody who has interest in your business.
Yeah, I love this question here. Is what problem does your venture solve? And why is it important to solve it? That's a great question.
Absolutely. No pain point, no opportunity, right? So you gotta identify or locate some pain point of people, including yourself, and try to come up with a remedy for this pain point or ways to resolve. So that's where it's exactly venture idea coming from.
Yeah, and it really ties into what you talked about with customer development and customer questionnaire. We did webinars back in 2013 based on that, because what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to ask those questions and interview those individuals to see if what you are building actually does solve those problems, if it's really needed.
Early stage input or feedback from your customer, actual customers, is critical because you reduced or minimize the risk behind your business. Before you fully committed time and money, you're going to have input from your customer, validate customer pool, and you can pivot if necessary based upon your customer's input. So that is a really great ways to actually prepare, go through your process.
So this is one that'll probably change. Oftentimes I notice when people will think, what is the size of their opportunity or what their venture can be? And then getting into an accelerator program like this, it can change dramatically.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely.
Main products, services, customers, your minimum viable product or MVP, a lot of things that you might do.
Mhm.
Your revenue model, always important.
Absolutely.
So
No
many-
money, no mission.
So many different ways to bring it in,
Yeah.
particularly with software
Yeah.
companies, you know. Um,
We will bring in the saber options of a business model. Maybe you think this is it. I mean, this is my idea. But I want you to come to the accelerator with an open mind. The expert and also the faculty and CSUB will give you a little different perspective. So you will have a chance to revise it or change, modify your revenue model, more fit it into the actual market need. That's the whole point behind this accelerator program. You don't have
Great
to
stuff.
stick to your original plan. It's always subject to change based upon the things unfolding that we are trying to help you. That's what I call that resource and support around your venture process.
Tell us 3 sentences or less of why your venture is substantially different from competition. One of my pet peeves has been over the years is when I talk to somebody who's going to be starting a business and they tell me that they don't have any competition.
Yeah.
And generally they might not have any very direct competition, but there's always indirect competition. There's always other things people can do to compete for that dollar that they're trying to get.
So when I have the answer like there is no competition, it's easily I can think of 2 different the reason behind that. Number one, you didn't do true due diligence to find or identify or locate your competitor. That's the one reason behind that. Other one is maybe there is no market. That's why there is no competition. So you have to justify your own market and market void, and also link those things to the company adjacent to the market you are trying to delve into. That's the competition, indirect competition too. So.
And that is a very comprehensive application form. So with me, you know, with my male pattern ADD, I would have a problem doing this much work for the application process. So I believe somebody would be able to, I hope to learn that on some of these, and I'm not positive. So probably an abbreviated format of this would probably be acceptable to bring somebody in for consideration into the accelerator.
So here is, we want to think about this one more seriously than casual. And that's the reason why we have a little bit of intense the question in this application. You may not have a full answer. That is fine. But I want you to have a moment of a thought and then put it in there. And maybe 1 sentence or maybe not applicable yet. That is fine. But I want you to finish the application and submit it instead of leave it as a blank. Okay. Yeah.
Well, let's jump into our questions, and we have some questions. It's not too late to ask a question. Our first one is on the CEI program, and it's how would you define the business categories of remote services and advanced manufacturing?
Okay, remote service is about a back office business. We have a data center, right? Or data hosting service, and or a back office service that remotely. That's the example of remote service of business. Advanced manufacturing is about the computerized or the manufacturing in a very the sell product, and I can't come up with the right example at this time. That's a great question. The simple manufacturing at this time is put it into the floor and they construct something out of it, right? Advanced manufacturing using the mirror image or the smart factory types of technology available in actual manufacturing site. And the best ways to describe that advanced manufacturing is smart factory or industry 4.0 types of category.
Something that we've fallen behind on in the United States when we gave up manufacturing.
True. However, we do have cutting edge technology in the United States, not because we do not have those technology available, or we don't have it. We simply don't do that because we have to coming out from our comfortable zone. So some other country in Asian or European country did that and then do that, but we haven't done quite deal.
Yeah.
But that is the area we need to go.
Yeah, and I'm a huge believer in that. People think that manufacturing is offshore because wages are simply cheaper, but it's beyond that. It's beyond, they've advanced technology in manufacturing while we've given up manufacturing, and manufacturing is coming back. You can write that down. It's coming back. So if there's manufacturing opportunities out there, bring them. I know SBA's jumping into manufacturing, and they'll have an announcement out relatively soon that we'll be talking about. So manufacturing is happening. Is prior business experience required?
No, not at all. We have a similar question on intake, and not because we want to screen you out. We want to know your background. That's why. But prior experience not required at all.
Okay. And when will the webinar be available to be viewed again? Well, we will actually send it out to you. So check your email in a couple of days. All the links that are in the chat box that Maureen has graciously put into the chat box, we will go through those and actually send out an email with all the links and the recording of today's webinar. It'll also be on our YouTube channel probably by the weekend as well. Is there support after the courses are completed?
Yes and no. Do we have a systematic ways to get in touch with you upon the exit of cohort? Maybe not, but as usual, myself and my team and a CEI always there upon your request. You can come by and contact us, specifically ask us what you need. We're happy to help you. But by theory, there is no guaranteed continuous support for the cohort member upon their exit.
And that'll be at the university level, of course, at the SBDC. And if I can answer this last question, will there be ongoing mentorship? Again, that can actually happen through the SBDC. And who knows, maybe we will develop something that is more combined with SBDC and faculty on ongoing mentorship. It's just not planned right now.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen that some mentors come up and match up during the accelerator program. The mentors willing to provide their voluntary service after the 10th week too. So it is continuing and both sides the relationship. And also CEI have a group of mentors along or in addition to the accelerator. So we will have a mentorship group to help you out anytime.
So go to the website. If you want to sign up, you have more information. They can contact Dr. Bach.
And Dr. Jeremy Wood.
Yes. And
Most of us.
Or send us a email or phone call and we can help as well. Just jumping into the chat real quick, just going through some things in here that might be of interest. There are time-stamped previous webinars. There's the link to the Kern County Micro Business, the state of California program. There's also the Network Approved Dream Fund, and also some other resources that are in there as far as the incubator goes, and along with the questionnaire and Dr. Bach's contact for more information on this.
I just look it up that one person said that I submit my intake questionnaire, but I haven't heard from the yet. Please be patient. And as I said, the second week of August, we're gonna give you a kind of update about next round, if not earlier. So it's the second week of August is our some kind of cutoff point at this time. So be patient. We're never gonna let you behind.
Yeah, and we'll continue to update you up into the beginning of that first accelerator every Wednesday, beginning next Wednesday, July 13th, of webinar number 122. Dr. Bach, it's been fun. Great having you in studio. It's great having a guest back in here.
This is fun. Thank you so much, Kelly, and also SBDC having me today and to talk about a brand new center and exciting accelerator program. I want all of you come up and open the dialogue with the CEI. Whenever we can, it will be great.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, we'll see you all next week. Everybody take care. Have a good week. And
Thank you.
for now, bye-bye.